Control of me, now don't touch me, and then you change me, leave me when these stars you look at from the stars. Why won't you show yourself to me? Let me keep my memories of you. Why won't you show yourself to me? Let me keep my memories of you.
Hello, everyone. Trish Sheridan, host of A Global Focus. Come join us each Friday evening at A Global Focus's new time, 9 to 11 p.m. Eastern. Come join the discussion.
Hi, this is Rob Simone, and I want to tell you about my brand new show here on the Paranormal Radio Network. Each week, I bring you the most interesting people on the planet, the most in-depth discussions, and the most controversial issues. We go where no talk show dares to go. Join me every week for the Rob Simone Talk Show here on the UFO Paranormal Radio Network.
Tune in to UFO Undercover, Wednesdays at 8 p.m. Eastern, with your host, Joe-Montaldo, right here on the Paranormal Radio Network.
Tune in to the Mind Cemetery with hosts Chip and Nicole every month
from 11 p.m. to 1 a.m. Eastern on the UFO Paranormal Radio Network as we delve into UFOs, abduction, ghosts, aliens, conspiracy, cryptozoology.
And don't forget those creepy topics you won't hear on your local news.
That's the Mind Cemetery, where the paranoia about the paranormal comes to rest.
Don't forget to follow us on Twitter and Facebook.
Breaking news. Strange black pyramid UFO ships over every major city on the Earth. People are exhilarated and scared. Reptilian strange creatures are beaming down. My God, they're beaming me up with them. Don't put that probe there. Don't put that probe there. Don't put a... Ooh. Listen to the Church of Mabus radio show at 11 p.m. Eastern, Saturday nights with host Jeffrey Pritchard, bringing you the high strange. Visit www.churchofmabusradio.com. That's www.churchofmabusradio.com.
Light up your night with The Kevin Smith Show. Hi, this is Kevin Smith. Join me Monday through Friday right here on the Paranormal Radio Network.
Medium Christopher George, and I have a new show that will air the first Friday of every month from 11 to midnight Eastern Standard Time. The show is called Insight with psychic medium Christopher George. It's all about psychic readings. I welcome my listeners to call in for a free reading. Just remember, don't ask me a question that you really don't want to. I'll give it to you the way the spirits give it to me. Straightforward and real. The first Friday of every month. Insight, 11 to midnight.
I had had enough.
Well, you drove out there into the middle of nowhere and had some sort of loud verbal display challenging ET in general out in the middle of nowhere?
That's what I was doing. I actually had a pistol in my hand at the time. I was really kicked off. When I was having this fit, I was waving the gun in the air, okay, and I had this fit. And at this moment, I said, okay.
He was a Louisiana man named Joe-Montaldo. Around, called him Six Gun Joe. Works with ICAR, don't you know? Investigating UFO. Out for a drive with a gal one night. They stopped to check out the reports in the site. When an alien lit right there on the ground, commenced to throwing his weight around. Now, old Six Gun didn't take too kindly to that kind of thing. Especially that Vaseline. You know, seriously. Well, Six Gun looked that critter right in the eye and said, any last wish before you die, yo? Reached for his gun, quick as a twitch, and said, fill your club, you son of a bitch. Now, a legend spread across the land about this pistol-waving man. But if you're from space or from Earth below, you don't give no lip to Six Gun Joe.
Welcome to UFO Undercover with your host, Joe-Montaldo.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another episode of UFO Undercover. Like Natasha says, I am your host, Joe-Montaldo. Hope everyone's having a great morning, a great afternoon, great evening, wherever you are on our beautiful blue planet. You know, guys, I say it every week. I love doing the show. I'm here every Wednesday. I love hanging out with everybody. It's always a lot of fun for me to come talk and chat. I love doing the radio show. I love all the different guests we do. The thing about it is, you know, in the past, I try to do one show a month for myself. I always have. Sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't. But, you know, we're back on right now. We're doing like last week we did, you know, the Alien Star Child thing, and AS was on with me, and we chatted a lot about that. And this week we're going to be doing milabs and Q&A. But the first show of every month from now on will be a question and answer show, and a show where I can talk about things that are either bugging me or making me happy or in between. Ufology sometimes does make me happy. I see things, and it makes me very happy to see some of the stuff that goes on the field. And then, of course, I see stuff that makes me insane. It makes me want to just run around and smack people because I can't believe they're actually that dumb. Hello to everybody in the virtual auditorium saying hello. By the way, ladies and gentlemen, if you're listening to us on one of the other venues and you would like to join the virtual auditorium, it's paltalk.com. We are listed as UFO Paranormal Radio Network, and we are in the social issues category. So just type in UFO anywhere on Paltalk and you can find us. It's quite easy. It's easy to join. It's free. It doesn't cost anything. They do have paid names, but you don't have to have one to chat. You don't even have to want to watch video or come in the room or hang out or anything. It's kind of interesting. And it's really a pretty virus-free zone, so I haven't had any real problems with Pal Talk. Don't click any links that you don't know about, but other than that, it's a pretty thing. I've seen that, Glenn. By the way, ladies and gentlemen, I will try to refrain from the virtual auditorium. It's going to be hard. I see, do you think Barry Satori? Milab. According to Alfred Weber, he is. I mean, he was brought to Mars and educated there and kept there and then brought back to Earth. In case anyone who's listening to this broadcast does not know who Barry Satori is, because I know we have a large international audience, his current name is Barack Hussein Obama. I'm still not sure how Barack Hussein got into the White House in the first place, but hey, what can you do? When the country loses its mind, sometimes you just got to go with the flow. But that's who it is. And there was a lot of rumors floating around about that, but come on, let's be honest about this. We've all seen the job he's done. So I'm not thinking as alien life goes that they're going to be all impressed with Barry. I just don't see it. Let's put it another way. I'm not feeling the love there. Okay, I just don't think it's going to happen. But to all the people who send me letters about, he was raised to be president and blah 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 and blah 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 and blah blah blah. You can say that about any president. Okay, somewhere along the line they used to be presidents because they become presidents. But is he any more special than George Bush or Reagan or Clinton or any other president we had? No, he's not even as good as most of the ones I mentioned. So I'm not. It'd be like saying, was Reagan an alien? Reagan was a little crazy and a little out there, and actually, if he could have ran again, he would have won again. But was he an alien? No, I don't think he was an alien. I think he knew too much. Might have been why he ended up with Alzheimer's, because he knew too much. He definitely had some kind of awareness of extraterrestrials, but he's one of the few presidents. I mean, you always hear all these milab people, all these big conspiracies, but it's a load of crap. They don't even tell presidents of the United States about this. It may be a two-term, maybe, because Clinton never found out. As best I can tell, they don't even like telling Democrats. I think the last Democrat they told was like Teddy Roosevelt or somebody. Maybe JFK knew. I don't think even JFK knew. I really don't think he knew. But they do tend to, I'm pretty sure that Daddy Bush knew, and I'm almost positive that Reagan knew. Now, any presidents before that, I don't know. I really think you're going to have to go back to like Roosevelt or Eisenhower, someone like that might have known. And they were Democratic presidents. So, I don't know. It just doesn't seem like whoever controls the milabs, which isn't the government. Anytime someone tells you that they're having a military abduction and it's military, look at them like they're stupid, okay? Because it's not the military. Whoever this group is needs plausible deniability. You can't have plausible deniability if you're the military. You have too many holes. There's too many holes in your sieve. It's not going to stay. I mean, we can barely contain secrets of our fighter jets, top secret stuff that we're working on. Hell, Russia and China end up with blueprints of ours all the time. So these kind of secrets are going to be hard to keep. But if you've got a very select group, a very hand-picked group of people that won't turn, that will do the job, and you don't have to worry about it, then it's an easy thing to control. Somebody always tells me that you can never keep the milab thing secret. That's bullshit. How many guys who run our nuclear silos do you know that have any codes anywhere, ever? How many have ever gone crazy and launched nuclear weapons, for that matter? How many of them have done anything that would be out of the ordinary or out of their service parameters? None of them. And it's not just them. There's a lot of other fields that, if you take your time and you select the right people, it will never happen. It will never happen. It will never be any slips. And even let's look at it like this. Let's say by some miracle, some guy went out and said, I'm one of the abductors. I'm one of the people milabbing people. Do you really think that the guys who control this would let that go? Do you really think they would let somebody run around who was legit talking about they were milabs? Because the government might get interested all of a sudden. Not the citizens, but the government. Because our government doesn't really know about the milab government. It's black ops to them. They don't know what the hell's going on. The everyday government has not a clue what the milab thing is. Anytime they hear it, they think people are crazy. Oh, our government would never do that. Y'all are crazy. That's not happening. And the simple fact of the matter, the way you know it's not the U.S. government, because when military abductions happen overseas, a lot of times there's no U.S. personnel involved. There's other countries' personnel. And what's weird in Europe, A lot of times when you hear about milabs, they're talking about French government or people work for the French government, not American. So it's highly unlikely that the U.S. per se is leading the milab thing. More than likely, the way the milab thing really works is you've probably got some very wealthy, high-end people who have a lot of money and a lot of reasons to be involved in this for whatever, whether it's through their family lines or what have you. There's a reason they're involved in it. You've probably got a couple of ex-generals and ex-admirals from not just the U.S., but from other countries that are involved. Very, very, elite people. You've probably got people from other key branches. It could be the Bilderbergs, could be any of them. I imagine it's probably several of the groups that are doing this. But the thing of it is to keep the group small, because if you don't, you will never be able to keep it a secret. And you have to trust each and every person in this organization with your life every day. So it's not likely they're going to pick some of these morons you see on the internet talking about, oh, I'm a milab, but I work for the government, and I do this, and I do that. Okay, look, you're just full of shit. Get over it, okay? If you're that positive, let me voice stress you, and let me put you under facial recognition, and let's really talk about this under regression and see if there is anything real there, because more than likely there's not. One thing I learned early on about military abductees, they don't tend to want to be too public. It's not that they won't talk about it, they will. People like Near Isley, Melinda Leslie, Kay Wilson, and a few others out there, Sparks and a few others, they've had military abductions. And by the way, you don't have to be in the military to have a military abduction. Military abduction is a bad word to start off with, but it's the only acronym we got, so we're kind of stuck with it at the moment. But you don't even have to be in the military. The only thing you're required is that you're a contactee. People are like, well, the government abducted me. Well, why? You're obviously a moron. Why would the government abduct you? Well, I have secret psychic abilities. Really? So wait, the government abducted you because you have secret psychic abilities, but then they released you. Oh, wait a minute. Now I'm really confused. The government would never let a resource like that into the general public for a couple of reasons. One, some moron might shoot up McDonald's while they're having dinner and kill one of their top secret programs. Two, a Chinese or Russian agent may find out about it and either kill them or steal them. When you hear people make claims like this, you have to stop and go, what the hell are they talking about? It's you just got to wonder, well, what are people thinking about? They're not going to allow this kind of behavior. They're not. They take people, they brainwash people, they put them back. They're not putting them in charge of super secret projects and then letting them back into the general population. It's not going to happen. Let's say, here's one for you. What's her name with the time portals? Okay. She says she can open and close time portals and stabilize time portals. And the government don't have her under wraps. Really? Come on. Now, you can stabilize and work time portals, but yet the government's going to, wait. Then she says on top of that, she says that the government shoot down ETs and bring the extraterrestrials to her to be interrogated. I like to fell out of my bleeping chair when I heard that. I couldn't stop laughing. I was literally rolling around on the floor laughing my ass off. I couldn't stop. I'm thinking, wait a minute. Your psychic ability is so good that they're going to let you interrogate a grave. There is no human alive on this planet that's going to interrogate a grave. Their psychic abilities are so far as if you did it, they would destroy your mind in about 1/10 of a second. And then on top of that, do you really think the reptilians and humans are going to allow their people to be interrogated by Earthlings? Oh my God, they're going to come physically remove them. The reptilians would lose it. They would probably wipe out the whole damn base just because you have one of their people. You got to wonder when they make these outrageous claims. Oh, we're shooting down ETs. Okay, well, why ain't ET shooting back? Well, yeah, I mean, you're shooting down their spaceships and killing their people, but they're not shooting back. And we know there's more than one race they're shooting at. So wait, now our government shoot at 3 or 4 races, but none of them are shooting back. What kind of screwy shit is that? And really, I've seen a gray ship up close and personal. If it shoots back, we're screwed. Literally, we're screwed. I mean, you're talking weapons that wipe out a city just with barely a thought. It's not going to happen. They've been here a long time. What you think all of a sudden we just started being able to shoot them down? This is what I always thought was funny. They've been here a really long time. So they've been watching us evolve. So somewhere our society is saying, or people are saying in our society that we have caught up with them. Now, they've always been ahead of us. So how do we catch up? All three races have been ahead of us, and the Greys more than the other two. So how do we catch up? They didn't give us the technology to catch. Look around the planet. We're not that advanced. We don't have interstellar flight. We're not going to other solar systems yet. We're at least 100 years away from that, maybe longer. We may, use the TR-3Bs to fly around in our own solar system, but we ain't going no farther than that. Not unless we got some kind of Stargate, and that I'd have to see for myself, because I think it was a fantasy from the damn series. It's not that I don't think there's portals out there, because I've seen alien portals before, the way they move their ships back and forth. And I'm not going to rule out the possibility that the Greys may not let us use them from time to time, or the reptilians or humans. They might let the TR-3s use them. But do we have interstellar flight? No. Do we have weapons that can knock down Grey saucers? No, we don't. Do we have weapons that can take out one of the motherships? Oh, my God. Could you imagine? I know people listening tonight have seen some of these motherships. I mean, we're talking miles across. Can you see a little F-16 with some laser on the end of it shooting at this thing, all right? I mean, not only would it wipe out the F-16, it would wipe out the whole damn base along with it, probably half the state. You just got to go, what kind of moron believes this stuff? Sorry to hear about that. So you just got to step back and go, okay, people, stop smoking the crack rock. And really, where are you getting this from? When I hear people like this, I get red flags. To me, it's disinformation, disinformation, disinformation. But in all fairness, because I know some of these people may be listening tonight, it's not that you may not be a legitimate contactee. That may not be and it may not be that you don't have legitimate psychic abilities, because if you are a contactee, you do. The problem is if you have been used. They have pumped a ton of bullshit information in your head only for one purpose, to make you look like a moron and anybody who believes you look like a moron. That is all it's for. It's not for anything else. It could be both the aliens and the government, for that matter, doing it. But being how sloppy some of this stuff seems to be, I would think it was milab and not alien. But hey, you never know. But I mean, there's obvious things you have to think about, like, okay, it's like it's a couple of them tell me, well, we're trained psychic killers. Really? Well, why is Putin still alive? Why is the head of China still alive? Why is the frickin' president of Iran and Venezuela still alive? Hell, he's got cancer and we ain't killed him. Why is Castro still alive? Okay, really, think about it. When they say moronic shit like this, you have to go, really? Well, why is all these people still alive? Why is all of America's enemies still alive if we have these kind of abilities? Really now. And you might say, oh, well, Russia got counter abilities. Maybe so, but all the rest of these countries don't. So what the hell? And it makes me madder at the people listening to them than the people saying it, because if you use common sense, you know they're full of shit. Okay, it's as politely as I can say it. If you use common sense, you know they're full of it. It's that simple. I mean, some things are just stupidly outlandish. There is no way they're happening on this planet at this current level of technology, even if you say the government's 300 years more advanced than we are. It ain't happening here. It's just not. And then the fact that people go around saying we're attacking the aliens just cracks me up. I mean, these people can come in, remove you from your home, no questions asked, no interference from the government. No one thinks they can stop them. Well, no one has been able to stop them. But yet, these crazy people out there are telling us, oh, I'm psychic powerful and I can stop everything. Well, then do it. Put up or shut up. So it's just one of the things. And I will be answering questions. I see Linda put that in there. You can, if you're on my friends list, you can send them to me on Pal Talk. If you're not, you can send them to me at icarcox.net, or I think I'm logged in under the Joe-Montaldo page on Facebook. Any of those places you can send them to me, and I will be periodically checking the mail and checking the other things like that. But, getting back to what we're saying, and I don't want to pick on anyone milab about this, and I don't want to, I don't want to tell somebody they're not a milab or they're not having contact, because they may well be. It's just, I have seen this for a long time. Anybody who was just listening to the show prior to this was near Ira Isley was talking with Alejandra Rojas. And listen to what she's saying. She's saying she was taken, abused, beat up, put back, this, that, and the other thing done. Some of her psychic abilities were tested because the government wants to know how good a psychics the aliens have. But you really think the Greys are going to let the government take one of their psychics they've been working 10,000 years to get straight? Get the hell out of here. On more than one occasion, aliens have come in and removed their contactees from a milab situation. So, you know, when you start hearing all these other people tell you how the government's doing this and the government's doing that and the government's doing this, you got to ask them, well, are you really a contactee? Or are you a useful contactee? Because apparently you're not if the alien isn't saving your happy butt from them. It's one of these things that irks me. And, you know, if your abilities are that good, then you should be able to tell me, you should be able to get in my head. I love them milabs that tell me, I am a super soldier psychic. I'm like, well, what's in my head? I said, apparently I'm irritating the crap out of you, so what's in my head? Make me shut up. You're like, come on. So, anyway, there's just some basic things that you should be aware of when you hear military people, you know, spouting off that they're a milab and they've got all these superpowers. And any time that you listen to a contactee and everything goes back to them, be worried. All right? And be worried. When, you know, like with what's her name the other day, she tells me about the being able to interrogate the aliens, and she runs the super soldier program, keeps them all in line. She can close and open doors. She can move across time and space and dimensions. This is one person doing all of this, by the way. And there's a bunch of other stuff besides that she says she can do. She's not the only one. Problem is she can't prove it, first and foremost. Secondly, it's absolute and total BS, because if she had those abilities, she'd be able to manifest them now. And then the bad part is, when I voice stress these people, it is so bad. Well, to put it, I was watching these videos. I was playing them in the room the other night for some people. And I was watching these videos, and I was just doing facial recon on them. Not even running the program, just, you know, from what I was taught from when I was younger, you know, working at different companies. And the thing about it is, they were failing miserably. Corner of the mouth going up, eyes rolling around the head, looking away from the camera, looking down at the floor. I mean, these are obviously signs of a liar. Well, the whole time you're looking at the voice stress meter, the son of a bitch stayed peaked the whole entire time. It never dropped below the midline, which would be a score of about a 40. You know, when we score them out, if you score 80 or above, it usually means you're telling the truth, or you've had this experience that was earth-shattering. Going below that, there's usually an issue, a problem. In this case, they were scoring 30s and 40s, and wasn't even getting close to the face wreck. So I got issues with that. You know, there comes a point where you have to challenge the bullshit. You just have to. You can't just keep letting it go on and keep flowing and keep over-spewing and going around. You know, we know they take abductees. We know they take contactees. We know they put them through a lot of stuff trying to figure out. You know, a lot of abductees have firsthand knowledge of propulsion systems, guidance systems, how craft work. You know, a lot of more personal information about the Greys and the reptilians and the humans and their daily activities. And that's what they're after. The government wants to know this stuff. The government really doesn't know what ET's doing here. You know, we already know ET lies, and we already know the government can't stop abductions. So if they can't stop abductions, they can't shoot down aliens. That's for damn sure. They would just shoot down aliens and then stop abductions. Oh, what? But they can. Okay, so let's move on. It's just kind of funny to me, you know. And it's time to challenge the BS. It's you know, the voice stress thing is a nice thing to have. You know, I just finished out a bunch of forms I sent over to Peter Robbins earlier today for the Rendlesham gig. I sent him 5 forms. Matter of fact, I got videos uploading for him on You Send It right now, so I can send him copies of the actual voice stress, so he can see the meters for himself, or if he wants to put them in a PowerPoint or something like that, he'll have them. But anyway, he'll have the information at his fingertips. But getting back to the milab thing, all right, typical milab is an abductee or a contactee, usually an advanced contactee, somebody who's come forward, or somebody the government's already functionally aware of. Maybe they knew their mother or their grandmother or somebody along those lines that were being abducted, and had been watching the family. When a contactee reaches a point of the awakening, that's usually when the government becomes interested in him. You know, the contactee starts to become socially and consciously aware that there's something going on in their life. That's when the government tends to get interested, because when they're starting to remember stuff. Because remember, the government can't break the Greys' blocks much better than anybody else can. Okay, they have hard times with it too, and they're using drugs, sodium pentothal, sodium mannitol, a whole host of other drugs besides that, and they're having a hard time blocking and covering memories. Plus, they like to try to overlay memories over like the abduction memories, and it gets sloppy, and the abduction memories tend to break through, and it lets the other memories become more clear, and then you kind of see what goes on. you kind of get an understanding. But a lot of times what happens to milabs, after a few dozen of these cases, if you get taken that much, it's usually 6 or 7 times, sometimes more, but some people just can't handle it and they flip out. They just flip out. It's too much for them. The fact that they're having alien abductions is bad enough. Now the government's screwing with them. It's just too much for them and they flip out. And they build these big, elaborate webs around them for protection. They really do. That's what it's about. These big stories around them. They make everything about themselves, and it becomes humanized, and it's about me, and it's about nothing else. First and foremost, when you're dealing with alien abductions, it is about the alien. It is not about us. They have come to our world and are using us for their agenda. Not our agenda, but their agenda. We are a part of their agenda. We are not the whole part by any means. Humans need to get past that we're the most important things in the universe, because we ain't. And probably won't be for a very long time, if we ever make it that far. But as it stands in the grand cosmos right now, we ain't much higher than a tick. And they are using us, and they're using us for their agenda. They're actually, they have several agendas. But it is about them. Make no mistake, this is about the extraterrestrials that have been visiting this planet for 100,000 plus years. It's all about them. You know, whether they're breeding hybrids or not, you don't see any hybrids running around our planet, and if you do, they're so close to us that you won't be able to tell. So it's about them. Where are all these hybrid babies? No one ever asked that. I do, but no one else ever seems to. You know, when you listen to the amount of contactees are out there, and they all have these hybrid children, which I have no doubt that they do, by the way. I don't want to take anything away from that. Where are they? And where are the children of the hybrids? Where are they? And where are their children? Remember, this has been going on a very long time. So where are all these damn kids at? That just scares me a little bit. They could be being used for anything from food to wars to recolonization. But we don't know. And anytime somebody down here tells you they do, you got to kind of go, wait a minute now. You know, I mean, I can tell you several agendas. Well, let me rephrase that. I can tell you what I think several agendas are. I cannot tell you by any means that this is exactly what's going to happen. I can tell you based on this data, and this data, that more than likely this is where this is going to go to. But it's a hypothesis, a theory, a work in progress. But it's not a fact. Okay? There are some facts in this field. That just does not happen to be one of them. But getting back to the standard military abduction, since I keep getting sidetracked. And to James, where are you from? Australia. How you doing down there in Aussie land? Any particular point? I've never even heard of that place. I can pronounce it. Well, welcome to UFO Undercover. What I was talking about standard military abduction is when the government just comes in. You may still be in the military. You may not be in the military. You may be at home. You may be at your grandma's house. You may be driving to work. Who knows? They will come and take you. Sometimes, well, actually most of the time, they will try to talk to you coherently first. In other words, they will try to, well, appease your human side, to get you to use your humanity against you. Because they're going to be telling you stuff like, you know, well, they're aliens and they're taking you and they're doing this and that and this, and you should try to help us to understand why they're here and what they're doing. A lot of humans will do that. You know, frankly, I say this on the air all the time. I would give the government every ounce of data I have, just not everybody's names. I would never do that. I'd burn everything I had before I'd let them get their names. But I would give them all the data I have because, frankly, they are the government and they do have a need to know. Let's be honest about it. You know, there are people taking our citizens, so our government does have a need to know. So I don't personally have a problem with that. I have a problem with some of the secret crap that goes on all over the place, but not that. Now we're you know, so they take you. They will usually use a psychic to try to scan you. If you're not cooperative, they'll try to scan you with a psychic. And sometimes that works and sometimes that don't. But the problem here is the milabs are usually advanced contactees. They're not your everyday abductee. They're usually advanced contactees, people with advanced abilities and advanced knowledge. So it's a lot harder for the government to just go in there and scan their heads. They're going to be immune to it, or a lot harder. So then the government will resort to drugs or fear. They'll beat you up sometimes. They'll do other things to you sometimes. You know, I've heard women say they've been raped. I've heard men say they've been raped. I've heard them take them places and just undress them and hypnotize you and stick you in the middle of the room. I've heard that on many occasions. I've actually seen it once or twice, come to think about it. So, we know they do things like this. We know they're trying to get the information, but if you were to believe some of these other milabs, the ones that say we have the super soldiers and we have all these time portals and we're going back and forth on the timelines and we're dimensional hopping and doing this and doing that and doing this, the government wouldn't need to abduct people. If they had that kind of technology and that kind of mental facilities, they wouldn't need to milab you. They could sit you, they'd say, okay, what's your name? They're sitting at the work in their office, scan them. There would be no need to pick you up. See, that's a lie right off the bat. They could bring you into the office and put you next door, and you wouldn't even have to see the person. You could scan them. So, well, as far as I know, the only ones that can do that is the Greys. I don't know, even the reptilians and humans can't dimensional hop. So I don't know how humans are doing it, but, Well, this particular one girl, actually is two, which kind of cracked me up, say that their mind controls all of this. It can control time gates and dimensional portals and you name it. I mean, pretty much anything that you can think of, their minds can control. But yet the government just lets them roam around the street and play on Facebook and shit. I'm sorry. I just got issues with that altogether. No secret government agency is going to allow their people to just run loose on the planet when we have so many hostile people against the United States. Think about this. Think if we're going to use her name, Inya, whatever her name is, let's say that she was really real. Al-Qaeda would have already grabbed her. Think about it. They would have already grabbed her. They snatched her butt up and they would have already had her brainwashed and using her against us. Yet, people of this kind of caliber would never be allowed into the general public. Like I said earlier, there's just too many things that could go wrong. Psychic meltdown, all kind of other problems besides that. Accidental, like John Mack getting hit by a drunk driver. Accidents happen. Why the bumper sticker says shit happens, because shit does happen. Or hostile governments or hostile people. I mean, hostile aliens for that reason. I mean, come on, she said she's interrogating aliens with her mind powers. Ooh, I'm interrogating the Gray with my mind powers. So you don't think if a Gray got a chance to take her out, they wouldn't? Yeah, I know. So that's my whole point. So anyway, these kind of things are just stupid to listen to. But people like this get mad if you challenge them. And in this particular girl's case, to be fair, I do think she's been abducted. I do think she's a contactee. I just think she's been used. It's I call it a disinformation download is what I call it. It's like being in the Matrix. They download this whole scenario into your head, and as far as you're concerned, it's real. Because your head's seen it all. You're like interacting with it. So as far as your head's concerned, it is real. But instead of thinking that you're the supreme being in the universe like Billy Myers, or what's his name that used to be a director for us that thinks he's the supreme being now? Oh, I can't think of his name. But, yeah, there you go, Christian. That's another one who thought he's the supreme being. And, of course, he's living in the desert somewhere unemployed without a job. And Billy Myers is living up there unemployed without a job. And apparently they're not well taken care of for being the almighty super beings. I mean, come on, if I was a super being, I wouldn't even have to know the lotto numbers. I'd just get in my head and go, okay, there's a gold vein in California. Let me go buy this piece of land. Then I'd be a billionaire overnight. Or, there's a big diamond buried here. I mean, if you can scan a Gray, you can scan any damn thing. Let's be honest about it. So it's just one of them things that I have to just kind of laugh. And I have seen this many times. And this, I've heard this from other people before. With these great big elaborate, there was a girl I was working with that had this great big thing from Dulcie in her head. And, about these underground gunfights and all this other stuff. So I just asked her one day online. I said, why don't you get regressed? I said, you can come down here or we'll recommend somebody or you can find somebody. But anyway, make a long story short, she went and got regressed. Found out the whole damn thing was a cover memory. There was something entirely different going on. And what was funny about it is it was very smart on the people who gave her this cover memory because the other thing that was going on was much more important. They had her working with hybrid children. But the other scenario they had her in kept her mind completely occupied. She didn't even know she had hybrid children. She didn't know there was any involvement with it at all because she thought she was like a super soldier and she was out fighting this big war. I wish we did have super soldiers. We wouldn't have to put up all this crap from the Middle East or from China or from, countries, Venezuela, countries we shouldn't even have to, we should have already blown off the face of the planet. But we don't. So that suggests we have limited abilities. The simple fact that our government can't take out someone like Chavez or Castro, and come on, guys, we tried to kill Castro how many times unsuccessfully? So if any of these programs would be real that we're talking about right now, Castro would have been dead a long time ago. A long time ago. Gorbachev would have been dead way before he died. A lot of people would have been dead way before he died. Hitler would have been dead before. It's just, but we don't have those kind of abilities. We don't have that kind of technology. We don't have those kind of abilities because there's a lot of shit, frankly, that the government would not put up with. And even if this rogue group has super abilities, which I think they do, by the way, I do think the rogue group has some pretty special abilities, much more than government has, but not to the extent that what the extraterrestrials have. Somewhere, not even in between. Somewhere probably in the 5% category range. They're probably 50% more advanced than we are, but only 5% obtainable of what the aliens have. So there's just not a comparison there. We're just not in their realm of technology yet. And when people tell you that we are, they're full of shit. All you got to do is see a mothership or hear anyone describe a mothership, and come on. People are talking about 14, 15 aircraft carriers long, stacked 4 or 5 high, 2 miles across. That we do not have that kind of technology. We can barely build a balloon that big, much less anything of any real consequence. So we just don't have that kind of technology. People, and it's not that we're not going to develop super psychic abilities. We will. But it's not going to be everyday people, and not everybody on the planet has these abilities. And truly, when the government finds someone like these people say they are, they will never, ever, ever let them out of their sight. They will never, especially unmarried, single, they would have disappeared. They would be locked up in some condo somewhere, been being pumped through drugs till they finally agreed with everything the government said. They would have been completely and utterly brainwashed by now and being completely used. But that's not what's going on. So, the aliens will intervene, but only if you're useful. Now, Kim, like I was saying earlier, there are a lot of bad things that happen. It's not all bad, though. It's kind of like aliens. Sometimes the milabs do good cop, bad cop. One will be an ass, one won't be. One will bring you a sandwich, one might dump you coffee in your lap. Things like that. I was talking with Larry Warren about this last time I was on the air with him, about him being brought a hamburger because it brought back a story to me when I was in the military. We had all went out one night and got really messed up. And we were, the three of us were laying, I was in the military time. I was stationed in Millington, Tennessee, and going through advanced electronics school. And we were laid out on the side of this hill in the middle of the dark, beautiful skies, no light anywhere. And we're just watching the sky when the whole damn hill moved. It just slid to the left or to the right. And white light came out the ground. Now, needless, we were pretty drunk. And we were all kind of like, wow, what the hell? And we were laid out on top of a missile silo. We had no idea. It was just a bunch of humps in the field. We didn't know what they were. We thought they were just mud hills or something. And the SPs came out along with 2 MPs and escorted us down these stairs, down to the bottom of this thing, to this room, where they interrogated us for only about 10 minutes when they finally realized, oh, no, these guys are just drunk. They're not Russian spies or anything. And they brought us hamburgers. And then they sent us back to our base. Now, I could have made some big thing out of this, but I didn't because that's, what I told you is exactly what happened. But I just thought it was funny when Larry brought up the hamburger thing. But it also suggested to me that there's probably military abductions involved in the Rendlesham case. And I have talked to Peter and Larry about maybe doing some regression work with them. I got to tell you, too, they did outstanding on the voice stress analysis, and just outstanding. Of course, most of the stuff I was voice stressing for them were trips they had taken out into the woods and other places that they had gone together doing some UFO hunting. And I got to say, they passed it with full colors. And a lot of the Rendlesham stuff that was in there, they passed with full colors without any problem at all. So I was glad to see that. And we're gonna see stuff that from time to time is going to be close. I was talking about 80% or higher, a score of 80 or higher, because your score can go up to 200. or higher usually means if they're telling the truth or the event is real. But sometimes you get these scores that are like 75, 76, 77, 78, 79, 80, 81, 82. I mean, it's real fine in that area. Is it true, or is it live, or is it Memorex kind of thing? So you got to be kind of a little squishy-wishy when you get in that particular area, but still, there's a lot to learn there. But yes, you know, you don't want to be military abducted if you don't have to be. You don't want to be involved. It's one of the things I tell people all the time about coming forward. When you're going through the awakening and you're getting these images in your head that I should be talking about this, or I should be working in the field, I should be involved. If you are an advanced contactee like a keeper or someone in the hybrid programs or something like that, odds are if you start talking about it, you're going to get mill-labbed. You know, they're going to zap your butt because you may have something they don't know about, or you may be willing. They never know when they're going to get the right person that may kind of work with them a little bit. And I'm sure they've tried to convert other people. It's just usually ET won't allow it. It's not that I don't think some psychics don't slip through every once in a while. I really do think it will, but still, who knows for sure. A couple other things too while I'm thinking about on the MilLab things. Yeah, there's a lot of violence sometimes. I mean, they can be harsh. They can slam you against walls, knock you out, stuff like that. They usually don't leave anything that's going to leave big bruises or big marks because that shit has to be explained away. You know, now if they give you some drugs or try to do a cover memory and you're all bruised up, your memory's going to probably break them blocks because you're going to be where the hell all these bruises come from. So they're kind of strange in the way they do things. But they have from time to time taken people for a couple of days at a time and roughed them up pretty good and then put them back. It's but like I said earlier, if you're advanced contactee, usually the alien that's involved with you, when that psychic trigger goes off, they will usually step in. And I can tell you from personal experience, along with others, that we have seen aliens where there's mill-labs going on. And so it wouldn't be the first time for us or for a lot of these people. So we know it goes on. It's just one of those things that we know goes on. Through personal experience and through research, it's just how it goes on. And we've been involved with a lot of mill-labs over these. It's something else that always bothers me about people. You know, I'll be talking to them about their experience, and if you start questioning them hard, they get mad a lot of times, really frustrated. And they get really, really hostile about it because you're asking them questions. They get hostile. See me, I thrive on being asked questions. I love it. You know, anybody who knows me knows don't ask Joe no questions if you don't want to hear the damn answers or something he thinks is the answer because he ain't got to never shut up. But, you know, I don't get defensive about it. Even if you ask me hard questions or even if you don't believe me, I still don't get defensive about it. Because like I tell people all the time, this ain't about belief anyway. This isn't about God. This is about ET. So there's no need to believe. You either know they're here or you don't. There's no in between. You know, you can, oh, well, I believe in extraterrestrial. Praise be to the graves, baby, because I believe. Take me to the great holy land. No, you don't believe. You've either seen enough evidence that you know it's real, or you've seen something personally and you know it's real, or you haven't. And that's where it basically is. And I get tired of telling people that because, you know, it's I believe in extraterrestrials. I believe, praise the great, praise the great. Get the hell out of here. Come on. And then I love these ones now who are mixing mill-labs with demons and sorcerers and all this occult shit. Okay. First, for the occult to be real, the devil and God has to be real. Well, we're not even sure about that part yet, so we can just leave the occult out altogether. And personally, I've dealt with enough occult stuff when I was younger that I know a lot of it is absolute and total bullshit. Not all of it, but a lot of it. There's some things I've seen there's just no explanation for, but most of what I've seen is just garbage. And we used to practice. We do have quite a good understanding about it. So, you know, instead of taking someone's experience, come on, you know, I started out with this 30 years ago. You know, after my dad died, I was very religious when I was young, by the way. I was a devout Catholic. I was raised Catholic. I did everything you had to be Catholic. Communion, confirmation, whole 9 yards. I got all my extra names and stuff. And then my dad died, and I got really hostile. I was 16 at the time. Got really hostile. I was just pissed off at the whole world. Told religion basically to, you know, whatever. And I researched it hard before I told it whatever, but I did tell it, you know, to take a fly on. But I got into the really dark arts afterwards and the devil worship, I'll be honest with you, for a couple of years too. And learned a lot of stuff. But I also learned that a lot of it is just absolute garbage. I mean, just absolute and total garbage. Both sides. Whether it's on the Satan side or the God side, just a good majority of it is absolute and total garbage. So I got in that for a while. Then I met Linda, and I started reading tarot cards. Got pretty good at it, too. And we both, were practicing witches for, 10, 15 years. Meanwhile, I was learning about ET the whole time, but I was into, learning the other stuff as well. And but I realized something, because I even looked into the New Age stuff before I got fully into ufology. I realized something early on in this. Most contactees probably do this. They probably go to one of the darker arts, then one of the lighter arts, and then some of the other arts, and then maybe into the New Age stuff, because they're looking for answers. They know they have psychic abilities. They know they possess certain abilities because they're using them. So they know they're real. So they're looking, where does this come from? Was this God-given? And if it is God-given, why don't every planet have it? Well, if it's extraterrestrial given, it makes more sense that you got it and the rest of them don't. That actually makes more sense than everybody on the planet doesn't have it. So, but it gets really sticky-wicky up in here, and I can understand why contactees get lost in this and get so confused, because they don't know where to go. But I will straighten out some of that for them while I'm in the mood for this. One, not everybody on the planet possesses psychic abilities. I know, I'm going to get all cut of me. Everybody got it. No, that's bullshit. I have tested enough people now that I know I can go into a mall right now, and I will bet anybody $500. Go to your local mall, go get a Zimmer's test or a Yin's test, and all they are is some cards with some figures on them, and see how many people get any of them right. Any of them right. Not I'm talking about any, because it's 50-50 chance on a lot of this stuff. And see how many get any right. And when you do the 5-card test or the 25-card test, only an advanced contactee are going to get any of them right. Nobody else is. You can sit there fees on end testing people, and they will not get any right. Any. So it tells you right there, not everybody possesses these damn abilities in any abundance. Because even a little bit of empath or a little bit of psychic abilities, like, okay, let me put it, say I lift a card and I see a square, a red square. If they possess any latent psychic abilities or empathic abilities, they should be able to pick the projection up for me, because I'm sending, and I'm sending on purpose, because I'm trying to get them to see it. So not only are we getting them to try to look and see what they can see with their own psychic abilities, we're trying to use ours to send it to their head to help them out, and they still aren't getting it. So I think what it is when it comes to psychic abilities, I think it's a threefold thing. One, I think it's part of who and what we are being related to these aliens. Two, I think because of the repetitions of meeting each other on the ships, that our abilities are getting better from dealing with the hybrid children. But more importantly, and three, from our regular contact with the Greys or the humans on a daily basis, I think their psychic abilities evolve quite good, quite advanced. A lot of times they'll be very empathic or very telepathic. They'll know who's calling on the phone, who's at the front door. They'll know when their kids are lying to them about grades or where they've been, or all kind of wonderful things. No, reptilians are not evil. Human aliens are evil. Reptilians are not evil. Somebody lied to you. You must have been watching David Icke or somebody. Now you see you distracting the whole damn train of thought. But anyway, where was I? On the psychic abilities. Just go test it yourself. And I say this all the time, you don't have to take me for my word. I never ask people to listen to me or to agree with any of my thoughts or comments without checking them out first. Any of them. It's who I am, a very unique person in the ufology field, because I do not expect you to follow me. I expect you to challenge me. Okay? Anybody who knows me worth my shit will tell you that. I expect to be challenged. I don't expect a cakewalk in the field, and I don't expect people to walk around and follow me blindly. I expect people to say, well, Joe, where'd you come up with that from? Or what the hell was that? Why do you think that? Where's the evidence for this? I expect that. To me, that is just doing good research. I mean, that's all it is. It's not anything more than that. It's just doing good research. Now, getting back to where we were in the milab things and the psychic abilities, the New Age is telling me, well, we got psychic abilities. Well, it's because you're contactees, you dumbass. Let me regress you and find out if you're a contactee. And I love people that tell me they possess psychic abilities, but they're not abductees, but won't let me regress them to find out. It's kind of like the Darryl Sims thing. Well, I made the alien stop. Well, let me regress you and find out for sure. No, I know for sure I stopped them. Well, but Darryl, they can put cover memories in. Let me. No. See, that's the same thing. Because you don't want to know. You want to know that I'm right. Either way, it doesn't matter to me. However you want to take it, it's that simple. There's a lot of this going on. And to the person who just sent me that I am about it, no, I like Daryl. Daryl and I have friends, and it wasn't meant to be an insult or anything else. Daryl is a contactee, just like his son and his grandson are, and probably other members in his family. His son and grandson are still being abducted. He's not. Now, there's nothing he could do to stop it, even though he told you he got mad, blah, blah, blah. That's not what, if they did stop, it's because he's no longer useful to the program. They've got his son and his grandson, they're using them. Or because he was such a pain in the ass, they just blocked the memory. Really, there's nothing you're going to do to a grade to make them stop. You may make them torture your ass more, but you're not going to stop them because they can just wipe your memory out. And they can make you think that it stopped. They can plant the whole damn memory in there. So, what are you going to do? You're going to leave it at that and move on from there. Same thing with the military abductions. It's one of those things. It's going to happen if you're an advanced contactee and you come out forward, bam. More than likely, you're going to get picked up. You're going to be taken, and they're going to do things to you. It's just part of the program. They're looking for answers. Thank you, Trace. Just like we're looking for answers. We're all for answers. And the government's got a lot of answers. ICAR's got a lot of answers. But none of us got all the answers by any means. Like I said this the other day. We got 27,000-something members now. Let's assume that 18,000, maybe 19,000 of them are contactees. That means ICAR has 19,000 pieces of the puzzle. And do we know what the hell is going on? No. We know a lot about a lot of stuff. I'm not going to lie. You'd be amazed at some of the stuff we know as a group. But do we know why they're here 100%, what they're doing here, what the outcomes? No, we don't. And anybody who tells you that is lying to you. Because one thing I learned after my first 15 years in the field is abductee stories do not match. Okay, so everybody understands what I'm talking about here because we're getting close to the break. There is a baseline of what we call criteria where, like when we talk about the young children and the invisible friends and some of the stuff that goes on, the guy with the hoodies and the red eyes and stuff, this is typical abduction criteria for these people and upwards. We know through puberty up until 28, some of the really nasty stuff goes on there. So there's base stuff that we know for sure, okay, because we've heard it from countless, and I mean countless amount of contactees. So we know that base stuff is true, but then we get to the fun stuff, the alien agendas and what everybody's job is with the extraterrestrials. No one has the same job, which is not beyond reason, and no one has the same agenda. Now, assuming ICAR has 19,000 abductees in the organization, then we have 19,000 agendas. Well, that's just screwed. Who the hell is right? Which one of them are right, or which bunch of them are right? I can't lend credence to one over the other because they're all telling me different stuff. Even if I know it's an advanced contactee who has advanced training and is in one of the programs, when they get to a certain point, I got to say, okay, I can't believe it anymore because there's nothing to base it on. It's like the hybrid children. We know they come take us and they have different people interacting with the hybrid children. We know we have contactees working with other contactees and with other aliens. We know a lot of the agendas that are being worked on. But still, there's a lot that they're going to keep away from us. And frankly, and more importantly, let's be honest, these are extraterrestrials. There is simply going to be stuff that our minds will not understand at this point in time. Regardless, what we think we know about we don't even know what dark matter is. We just found out the other day that half of the light matter in the universe is missing. There's supposed to be 5% light matter. There's 2.5% light matter, which means the norm is dark matter, 95%. That's the norm of the universe, is darkness, not light. The light is the rareness. That's why it all clusters together and sticks together. In the early days, they said, the Big Bang happened and all the galaxies blew apart. Now, when you look at the galaxy fields, not only are there clusters of galaxies, but there's clusters of galaxies. They're grouping together. So even when the end comes and we're all spread out apart, there'll still be big group clusters of galaxies. Maybe the aliens know all this stuff already. But anyway, more advanced than we are, and they understand the universe much better than we do. To make my point, we know nothing about none of that. They probably do. So we're just kind of lost in the wasteland, praying and hoping to be enlightened by species that don't seem to want to wipe us out, but really, really don't want to make us part of the grand cosmic community yet. But anyway, we're going to take a break. Y'all save your questions. When we get back, we're going to go. We got another hour. And we're going to do some Q&A and a couple other things. I got a couple other things I want to talk about. And we may run over a little bit if we don't get to where we need to be. But think about the MilLab stuff. If you got any questions or if you want to challenge me on anything, feel free. You're not going to hurt my feelings. I'm a big boy. I've been challenged by some of the best in the field. So it wouldn't even hurt my shit. In the old days, I challenged everybody. How do you think I got to where I am today in the field? Back when I used to host Wake Up USA and the start of iCar, I challenged everybody. I didn't care who they were. Look, I got into an argument with Stan Freeman in my second interview with him. My first interview I did with, what was his name, Jerry Black? The guy that said Golf Breeze was an utter hoax. Oh, my God. That was my very first show I ever did. It was a good one, too, by the way. It was heated. It was heated by everybody. Everybody was involved in that show, kind of an argument. I thought Lynn was going to go to the screen and slap the son of a bitch. It was a good show, though. But point being is you got to challenge people. See, iCar challenges me daily because I come up with these ideas and these theories from all the data we get. And then, I'll call Jason or any one of the members, Dolphin or anybody else, or even friends of mine, local and stuff like that I deal with. A couple of people I talk to on Facebook that I hang out with. I'll talk to them about these ideas. And, sometimes you can see they got this look on their face like, okay, Joe, what have you been smoking today, buddy? So, they keep me on my toes. And like I've said 100,000 times, myself or iCar are not scared to change our opinions when the data suggests we were wrong. You can't say you're not wrong because you're going to be wrong from time to time, regardless who you are in this field. You're going to be wrong sometimes, like the Betty and Barney Hill case. I proved it's a MilLab case. What happened in the United States, the abduction happened in Canada, and MilLab happened in the United States. Actually, I shouldn't say I proved. Actually, Linda did most of the legwork on that. It was pretty open and shut, too, once you got through the data. It was pretty much an open and shut case. So we're going to make mistakes. We're going to get things wrong. We're going to learn stuff as we're going. I got to cheat a lot. There was a lot of good, credible data when I got into the field. I could look at John Mack stuff, David Jacobs stuff, Darryl Sims, everybody who was a researcher in the field. I was first with MUFON. We checked every abduction source we could find and did the original criteria. And then when iCar formed, we did it again. And it does give us a unique understanding about extraterrestrials and alien abductions. And like I've told 4 MUFON directors now, even though Walt I personally like, I've told 4 MUFON directors this now: you'll never get to the truth chasing lights in the sky, ever. The government is not going to tell you, well, MUFON's infiltrated anything. The government is not going to tell you the truth, okay? There's not going to be any disclosure until ET says it's okay. And frankly, there's no need for it. And I've said this 100,000 times. ET has disclosed to everybody they want to know. If they wanted all 7 billion of us to know, they would just hover over the planet and let everybody see them. That's not what they're worrying about. They're worrying about their group of contactees. They're 10 to 15% of the population, and that's what they're worried about. They don't care about everybody else. It's not a concern to them. Maybe that's what scares so many people, because really it isn't a concern to them. Only the contactees are a concern to them. It's one of the things. But anyway, it's a good time to take a break, so we're going to stop right there. I want everyone to please stay tuned to UFO Undercover. I am your host, Joe-Montaldo. We are speaking about milabs, alien abduction, and several other topics for that matter, so I want you to please stay tuned. I'll see you in about 8 or 9 minutes. Have your questions ready, and we'll start then. See y'all soon.
You're to UFO Undercover with your host, Joe-Montaldo, right here on the Paranormal Radio Network.
Eastern on the UFO Paranormal Radio Network as we delve into UFOs, abduction, ghosts, aliens, conspiracy, cryptozoology.
And don't forget those creepy topics you won't hear in your local news.
That's the Mind Cemetery, where the paranoia about the paranormal comes to rest.
Don't forget to follow us on Twitter and Facebook.
Breaking news. Strange black pyramid UFO ships over every major city on the Earth. People are exhilarated and scared. Reptilian strange creatures are beaming down. My God, they're beaming me up with them. Don't put that probe there. Don't put that probe there. Don't put a... Ooh. Listen to the Church of Mabus radio show at 11 p.m. Eastern, Saturday nights with host Jeffrey Pritchard, bringing you the high strange. Visit www.churchofmabusradio.com. That's www.churchofmabusradio.com.
Tune in to UFO Undercover, Wednesdays at 8 p.m. Eastern, with your host, Joe-Montaldo, right here on the Paranormal Radio Network.
Light up your night with the Kevin Smith Show. Hi, this is Kevin Smith. Join me Monday through Friday right here on the Paranormal Radio Network.
Hi, everyone. I'm psychic medium Christopher George, and I have a new show that will air the first Friday of every month from 11 to midnight Eastern Standard Time. The show is called Insight with medium Christopher George. It's all about psychic readings. I welcome my listeners to call in for a free reading. Just remember, don't ask me a question that you really don't want the answer to. I'll give it to you the way the spirits give it to me. Straightforward and real. The first Friday of every month. Insight, 11 to midnight.
I had enough.
Well, you drove out there into the middle of nowhere and had some sort of loud verbal display challenging ET in general out in the middle of nowhere?
That's what I was doing. I actually had a pistol in my hand at the time. I was really ticked off. When I was having this fit, I was waving the gun in the air, okay, and I had this fit. And at this moment, I said, okay.
He was a Louisiana man named Joe-Montaldo. Folks around called him Six Gun Joe. Worked with ICAR, don't you know? Investigating UFOs. Out for a drive with a gal one night. They stopped to check out the reports of sight. With an alien lit right there on the ground, commenced to throwing his weight around. Now, old Six Gun didn't take too kindly to that kind of thing. So I took out Vaseline, seriously. Well, Six Gun looked that critter right in the eye and said, any last wish before you die, yo? Reached for his gun, quick as a twitch, and said, fill your club, you son of a bitch. Now a legend spread across the land about this pistol-waving man. But if you're from space or from Earth below, you don't give no lip to Six Gun Joe.
Welcome to UFO Undercover with your host, Joe-Montaldo.
Okay, well, thank you for that welcome back. Damn, sorry about that. I got a little tongue-tied there, guys. I'm not sure what all of that was about. Got off on a kind of crazy rampage there. You know, before I get started, a couple things I want to think about. I want to welcome Chris. Chris is going to be doing Insight starting this Friday, matter of fact. It'll be the first Friday of every month following Teresa and the Global Focus. Should be an excellent show. It will be open phone lines as far as I know, so I'll double check, but he'll be on with us later. Speaking of the phone lines, ours is 504-273-7379. I do have questions on the boards on a couple of places, but, the phone lines are open. As long as I'm not in the middle of a question, we'll take a call. So, again, it's 504-273-7379. While I'm on that, though, if for any of the hosts in the room, I want to start leaving, even when everybody is posting their messages and their show titles in the rooms and stuff, I want to make sure y'all are starting to leave the archive site and the call-in number in the virtual auditorium. I've had a couple people complain that when they come in, it's not there, and they want to just click it and go, which is cool. So, and it's not a big deal just to start in front of that when you're typing. So we'll get it put in there today and tomorrow, and then we'll just let everybody know to leave it in there and just post in front of it. So enough all about the official business stuff. A couple of questions. Well, let's see. Let's go here first. Let's see. Sam. Oh, Sam. Samantha. Okay, it's just Sam. I got you. There, she wrote Sam, and then she wrote, I'm a female underneath it. So I guess you wanted me to know. What do we got here? What are my thoughts on exopolitics and Alfred Weber? Okay. On Alfred Weber, I have to take the fifth. Sorry, I just have to. On exopolitics, it depends what you're talking about here. Okay, because exopolitics, well, that's what there's. Now, there were from, actually, I have to go back and look now, but Alfred is a close and dear friend of mine. That's all I can say about Alfred. And I would comment on his research, but I don't even know what he's doing right now, so I don't want to comment on it. As far as exopolitics go, I sit on Michael Solo's advisory board for abduction research. I am for disclosure in Stephen Bassett's realm, so I'm not against exopolitics. And in a lot of ways, I agree with exopolitics. But by saying that, there are things that I take issue with. One, setting up rules and regulations for extraterrestrials and how we're going to meet and design. Now, I do think we should have some kind of contingency plan in case there is a contact, so that at least more than just the military is involved. I do agree with that part. But setting policies and politics for extraterrestrials is an arrogant, egotistical thing to do. Because frankly, I'm not even sure if they would understand our politics, and I'm sure we wouldn't understand theirs. Instead of doing that, maybe we should be looking for similarities or for reasons why they're here, and starting that basis. Say, okay, well, look, Mr. Gray, we're glad you're coming forward. We would kind of like to know why you're here, why you're taking our citizens. Can we look forward to more of the same? Is there going to be something, let's try to get something that eases the stress of first class. I don't care what anybody says. I listen to these young people all the time tell me, oh, I wouldn't be scared of an extraterrestrial. Yeah, but yet when I see them on their ship, their hair standing in their head and they're just stunned like, ah! Yeah, you're not scared, my ass. Anybody with any common sense, the first time they see an ET, or even the dozenth time they see an ET, you're going to be like, ah! Let's be honest about it. They're extraterrestrials. Maybe if you're an old timer that's been being abducted for 30, 40, 50 years, you might not be quite as shocked, but since they wipe out most of your memories, a lot of times you're still going to be shocked. So to reiterate on what I was saying, I do, in some stuff, I do agree with exopolitics. I just think that we should be establishing things and understanding things and pushing for disclosure and pushing for understanding and pushing for protocols for contact. I just don't think that we should take the wrong approach. I think we should leave this. I think we should really look more into the abductee stuff and find out more about the aliens before we start talking about how we want to meet them, where we want to meet them, and what we expect out of them. We have a bunch of abductees on the planet, so I would think it would be to our benefit to seek their knowledges, and I mean on a vast, maybe 100,000, 200,000 of them. It'll take ICAR, at current rate of growth, it'll take ICAR 25 years to reach 100,000 contactees. That makes me kind of old, so it puts me in my 70s somewhere. So I'm thinking we need to speed this up a little bit. But that's about all I can say about exopolitics, because that's pretty much my stance on it. I do endorse a lot of what they do, especially the European branches of exopolitics. I have to say I'm in sync with a lot of what they're doing over there. And I am in sync with a lot of stuff going on here. No, I don't think everybody in exopolitics is nuts and crazy, but there are some, I'm not going to lie. It's like any part of ufology. There are going to be some good people and some bad people in every part of the field you're in. It's just part of the beast. And it's we're trying to weed it out. But, I've been asking for some type of oversight for a decade, and all I get is laughed at. People are like, oversight? Well, who's going to do the oversight? I don't want to do the oversight. Well, who's going to do the oversight? Well, I was thinking like a committee across the board, some contactees, some famous some famous researchers, some people in between, maybe 20, 35 people, something like that. So they can get a general consensus on evidence and things they think that are legitimate and evidence they think is good. And they don't have to, they can label. I mean, they can say, okay, we really think this research is really good and you should pay attention to it. Or we're not really sure what this research is. We don't really understand it, but it does seem to be well researched. Or the person doing it seems to be credible. They can say that. Or they can just say, well, no, we think it's a load of crap and that's simple. So it gives them a little freedom up in there, but nobody wants to do it. And then who would be in charge? Ooh, all the egos in this field. I don't know. It would be rough. But it is needed. To the person who just sent me that IM, there is not a legitimate anything that doesn't have oversight. You're not legitimate if you don't have oversight. You're just not. Scientists have to be peer-reviewed. They have oversight. Even politicians have oversight committees. You have to have oversight. Doctors have oversight. The FDA and the MDA and a few other things look in on doctors and check up on them and see what's going on. Every so often they got to go get recertified and stuff. So there's oversight. Ufology doesn't have oversight, and ufology needs it in a major way. Do it like this. Take your top 5 organizations, ask for somebody in the top echelon of the organizations, then take 3 or 4 of your top contactees, take 3 or 4 of your top researchers, have them start selecting some other people, and till you get 20 or 25 people, and do it that way. And you would have a really good community. They would be well diverse, and if you get endorsed in the field, would be good information. And people could submit information all the time to them. So, and Jennifer, you're right. It could be the good old boys club all over again. The idea is to keep it diverse, because UFO investigators generally do not like to deal with contactees and abductees. They haven't made it that far yet. They're still chasing UFOs. To them, they're still trying to prove that the UFO is extraterrestrial. They don't want to talk about abductees. So, there already you got some kind of button against each other, and you really need that. You can't have everybody disagreeing blindly, because then it will become the good old boys club. And you will have to watch, how it gets done and how people get assigned. When somebody retires or steps down, how other people get assigned. You have to replace them with someone in the same caliber from the same part of the field or something. Anyway, just a thought, an idea, design, but it is something that the field needs. It really does need oversight. Psychology has oversight. Come on, until psychology got oversight, it was a what? A pseudoscience. What is ufology? A pseudoscience. We're a pseudoscience until we have oversight of some kind. Somebody who's doing the fact checking and checking the information and trying to bring legitimacy to the field. Well, married to that, there are a lot of good writers in the field. There are a lot of good in the field. But a lot of the books contradict each other. So wouldn't you would like to know what the consensus of the field was? Like we'll use the Betty and Barney Hill case. 10 years ago, the consensus of the Betty and Barney Hill case was they were abductees, plain and simple. They were abducted, and that's all there was to it. Then this arrogant SOB comes along that runs ICAR and says, no, that's not what happened. This is what happened. Okay? And this is why it happened. Okay. Now, 5 years ago, there was a split in the field. Half the people agreed with what I was saying. The other half the people still held tight to the Betty and Barney Hill case. But that is slipping. Every day, more and more people in the field are siding with the new case because it's much more coherent and it's much more detailed and it's much more accurate than the original investigation was. So more and more people are siding with it because it was credible research. And if we do this on a regular basis all the time, the field will just be cutter. But you have to be willing that you make mistakes. You have to, fess up to them. You have to know that things are going to change. And we really need oversight. All right, enough about oversight. We will leave that alone and move on to the next thing. Let's see. Wait. What did I do with that other question I just was looking at? Oh, okay. Do people like Linda Moulton Howe bring credibility to the field? Boy, y'all just trying to get me in trouble tonight, huh? What is with these questions? I don't know. I don't follow Linda Moulton Howe. I don't follow her. She doesn't research in the areas that I research in. I can tell you this. I think she's done a lot of talking and a lot of writing, and she's brought a lot of press to the field. Good or bad press, that's not my call, but she has brought a lot of press to the field, so we have to give her that. The probe shift thing in her case, I think, was a disaster and it should have been left alone. And I do debate her on the cow thing, mutilated cattle. I do debate her on that because I think there's better and more plausible explanations for that. Yeah, I will get to that. I seen that. I knew when I said that I was going to get that. I am. Well, let's look at it like this. ET's coming in and taking cows and putting them back. Okay, first off, I got a problem that they put them back. Secondly, we did a lot of research on this because everybody always said, oh, no, these were just road cows on road ranches and they weren't insured or anything. Okay, well, that's a load of crap, by the way. We started looking into these ranchers. Now, listen here, the word rancher. Not little cattle farmer, but ranchers. Ranchers have big, huge spreads with buku cattle. And they don't let their cattle run around uninsured because it's not smart. So come to find out, when we asked a couple of places like in Arizona and a couple places in Nevada, and actually a couple of places besides that, when we talked to the police about it, they said no, these cows were insured. So ET knew the cows were insured, which kind of bothers me a little bit. Also, none of the technology used to me I consider to be of extraterrestrial origin. We have lasers that can cut like that. We have vacuum pumps that can drain a cattle dry in about less than 2 minutes. We have helicopters that run completely stealth and can pick them up and move them around. So I'm not, and wait, on top of that, there are more sightings of black helicopters near cattle mutilations than UFOs. So what the hell does that tell you? Now, and this is more importantly to me, okay, there are really no cattle mutilations east of the Mississippi River. There's a lot east of the Mississippi River, but there hasn't been any real cattle mutilations. Now, what is really the difference between the west side of the Mississippi River and the east side of the Mississippi River? Anybody know? Anybody got an idea what it could possibly be? Okay. 99.99% of all nuclear testing done in the United States was done west of the Mississippi River. Wait a minute. Near places where cattle mutilations happen frequently, okay? New Mexican deserts, Arizona deserts, Nevada deserts, where ranches all around there. What they're doing here, if you pay attention to what parts are being taken, these are the parts of the cow where the radiation would accumulate fastest and at the most, okay? This is science fact. You go check this out for yourself. This is where the radiation would accumulate, where you would see it first and where you would see the most of it. And these are organs that were being removed. Okay, a lot of these cattle are free-range cattle. You know what free-range cattle is, right? They're out eating in the wilderness, and then they bring them in and they feed them before they bring them to the slaughterhouse. Which means these are great cows to test for contamination in the food supply and in the water supply. Now, we know for 40 years our government had been blowing nukes up under the ground in the deserts for 40 years. So they can't go around testing for nuclear contamination because people like you will sue, okay? If all of a sudden you see people out there testing all the water streams and food and cows and vegetation for radiation, you're going to get a little nervous, okay? They can do it this way. Nobody has to know. They can blame it on the UFOs. It's a great cover story, and no one will ever know the difference. And this way they can know ahead of time if an area has been contaminated and figure out how they're going to deal with it long before you ever find out about it. It's a much better and much more plausible explanation for what's going on out there than ETs flying around and gutting our cows and putting them back on the ground. It would make sense if the government was doing it. They would take free-range cows that are insured and put them back, because as long as the rancher's got the body, he can collect. Y'all didn't know that, did you? If the cow goes missing, he can't collect, but if he's got the body, he can collect. I know, huh? No, people don't think about these things. I do, though. And it doesn't mean that's what's going on. But really, we have two good theories here. Oh, aliens are coming and gutting the cows and setting them back down, or the government's testing for radiation. You know, somebody said, well, the government could just buy cows. Well, they can, and I'm sure they do buy cows and test them. I have no doubt that they do that from now on out. They'll go to an auction and buy cattle and test them. I don't even have no doubt that they do that. But this is a little bit different. I think they're doing these in the field, and they want to know. When the cow aren't found, they probably found contaminants. But hey, it's a theory, okay? Ain't even that. It's a hypothesis. Oh no, that's a theory. But still, it's out there if anybody wants to think. But that's the whole part about doing research in this field. You have to put theories present. Now, if we had a board that did consensus, I could submit this to them, and they could tear it apart or strengthen it up. You know, because good researchers will build on it. If it's a good, solid foundation, good researchers will build on it. If it's a crappy foundation, they'll tear it down. We don't have to worry about it. It's done and over with. But this way, it's just going to float around the field and start arguments for the next 20 years, because that's what's going to happen. It does it every time I bring it up at a conference. It starts arguments because half the people are like, well, yeah, that sounds really good. And the other half people are like, no, it's damn aliens. Okay, you can't blame the aliens for everything that goes wrong in your life, people. Get past that. Just get past it. Oh, I'm sorry if that was. I just called. I just seen it hung up. I wasn't looking at the screen. Yeah, I actually have to be listening to Skype because I have it turned off so it's not bleeping in my ear. It's a sensible and plausible explanation for it. You know, I brought it up to Linda Moulton Howe one time, and she almost had a cow. I'm serious. Y'all should listen to that show. She almost had a cow. Now, she told me something, and I don't know if this is true or not. But this is everything if this is true. And I've never been able to authenticate what she said here. She told me that they have got the heart taken from inside the heart sac, but there was no physical damage to the sac itself. It was like the heart was beamed out of the sac. There was no scars, no burns, no nothing. If that's true, I don't know if we possess that kind of technology. So you got to stop right there and say, okay, everything else sounds more plausible the way I say it, but when you talk about that, maybe not. But I've only heard her say it. I've never heard any other researchers ever say it. And I can't find any documentation on any cattle mutilations that's posted online ever. So, you know, I got to take that with a grain of salt and move on from it. I'm one of the people, just because somebody says it doesn't mean it's true. You know, come on. Give me something. You know, tell me where I can find something, where I can go look for it. Like the other night, I'm in a room, right? A friend of mine, Peace Lover, invited me to a chat room on Pal Talk. It's a crazy, kind of weird Christian room. So I pop in for a few minutes, and we're talking first, which, of course, has got them all up, and just their dandruff is like all up on their head and their neck and stuff. I'm just laughing by it because, you know, to me it was kind of fun. I was kind of just playing around with them, kidding around. But they were so rude and so mean, and you know, and for someone like me, it's not hard. They can attack me all day long. I'm not going to really get offended or hurt, and I'm usually going to hit them with points that they're not going to be able to defend because simply they're not knowledgeable enough in the subject matter to defend them. But, you know, presenting something like this cattle mutilation thing over there, they can't even argue with it. They're kind of like, well, what the hell? And it scares people when I talk about it to think that your government might actually be out there doing that. You know, that they might actually be out there doing that. It's kind of a scary thing in general. But, you know, there's two ways to look at that. You can look at it as a scary thing that the government's running around doing it and not telling us. But you can also look at it that they are out there testing to find out if there is radio materials to do something about it before we find out about it. So, I mean, it's a good and the bad thing. You can look at it both ways. You know, whichever way makes you feel most comfortable, that's the way I would look at that. And theories are theories, and so on and so forth. Anyway, we're going to move along. We got a bunch of questions stacking up and very little time to get them out. What about Kim? You know, I've seen the chemtrail thing. While we're on this subject, you know, a lady I worked with the other day who's not really into this stuff was showing me these trails in the sky. Now, it's 95 degrees down here and 90% humidity. It's hot as hell, okay? Even way up in the atmosphere, it's above freezing, which means there should be no long trails. Contrails are simply frozen water particles in the atmosphere. That's all they are. And the reason they dissipate so fastly is because as they drop down, the air gets warmer and they dissolve. But the things that we see, they don't do that. They spread out into big, huge clouds and crap. You get 4 or 5 of them and make a big, huge cloud and overcast. Next thing you know, it's raining or something. I don't even think that's what the original design is for. I think it's a side effect of whatever they're doing. But they're not contrails. Especially down here this time of year, there just wouldn't be any in the sky. They would be, unless they're flying at like 70 or 80,000 feet, it's not going to be there. I think they said the other day at 40,000 feet it was 38 degrees, which is above freezing, so you shouldn't see anything. There shouldn't be anything left. But, yeah, you go outside and look, and some of these are quite low, under 20,000 feet, where we know the air is 70, 80 degrees. But still, trails all over the place. Well, actually, it's probably about 50 degrees. But still, they're everywhere. And they stay up there for hours on end. Contrails are not going to stay up in the sky for hours on end. There's some photos I just posted the other day. You'll see we're filming the sunset, right? So around 5 o'clock, we take the first shot, and there's chemtrail in it, 5 o'clock. We take the last shot around. Not only do you see this chemtrail in it, but you will notice that it has spread across the sky 5-6-fold. It's actually blocking out part of the sun. And it's the same trail. Not only has it been settling and sinking down, but there's been wind shear. Apparently the wind don't even really phase it. This must be some pretty heavy stuff. The setting sun is beaming right through it, and still it's staying there. Doesn't sound like a contrail. I don't know what it is. Call it chemtrail, whatever you want. But I was in the Navy, and I used to watch us fly fighter jets all the time. And in summer weather, we rarely ever left those kind of trails. Rarely ever. So, I mean, what's different? Why are they doing it? And it's not that planes can't leave big trails. They can. They're just not going to stay up in the sky for 4 and 5 and 6 hours. That's just a load of BS. Uh-oh, I hear some animal wanting to be famous. We'll have to put the Max on the air with us. Okay, anyway, enough about that, because there's not much you can talk about on those trails, because there's a couple of things. There's like what we would call chemtrails, like, where they've been tested and they found benzene and stuff like that on top of cars in Oregon and Washington and places like that. So we know stuff like that. There's also those trails, like the one we got in the nighttime video when we were videotaping the Leonese. This is a long contrail, but as you watch it in the video, because the video was on the moon for, 2 or 3 hours. You can watch this thing. It gets these curlicues, like a pulse jet engine or something. Yeah, it's not your normal everyday trail at all, chemtrail or contrail. You can tell just by these little loopy things coming out of it. It's definitely a different kind of drive. And we know the government's testing RAN scoops and pulse drives and all kind of drives. Just the other day, they're going back to testing nuclear drives, guys. I think the private industry wants to get into nuclear drives. I think it'll be a lot more efficient and a lot more power, so they should push their ships a lot faster. So one of those little things that I thought I'd bring y'all in on. I don't know if y'all know about it. Also, too, I posted this the other day, but the spy agency donated, didn't say which spy agency, just said a spy agency donated 2 better than Hubble-type telescopes to NASA. Now, let me ask y'all something. What are they spying on with telescopes? Are they got them pointed down at the ground? Because, any first-year rookie astronomer knows if you take your little crappy microscope and go out and look at the moon, it's like a blur. Because the telescope is so powerful that it blurs out the moon. You've got to get a special lens and break it down. So, and we have much better cameras. See, it bothers me. What were they spying on? That suggests they were spying on something other than Earth. It just bugs me. Because have you all ever seen the Hubble? Point the thing at Earth. I don't even know if you can point it at Earth. I don't know if you'd get any resolution at all. It would probably just be a blur. Maybe you could turn it down. I don't know. Maybe since it's digital and electronic, you can tilt it down and look at the Russians or the Chinese or something. But with the spy satellites we got these days, I don't know why we would do that. Maybe that's why we gave them to NASA. I don't know, guys. There's something about the whole thing that just smells funny. We're deploying those new satellites in 2025. Those new, it's 25 Hubble-like telescopes we're going to put in space in an array so we can find small planets, and not only find planets, but determine if they have atmospheres or life on them. They say we should be able to tell, from here if they have life. I don't know if we'll be able to tell if they're intelligent enough, but we should be able to tell if it's life. I imagine if it's intelligent, probably have satellites and crap like that in space or other stuff, so maybe we'll see that. But, I'm hoping to be around for this because this should be a unique thing. And then all of a sudden today, yesterday I hear that NASA's getting these 2 telescopes from the military. I'm like, or from the spy agencies. They didn't say military, they said spy agencies. I'm kind of like, what the hell is going on here? Just curious, maybe we're spying on something hanging around in our solar system or in a nearby solar system. Maybe they're watching one of these big motherships out near the end of the Oort cloud or something. Where you need a telescope like this to see what's going on. Then I bet you could get some resolution in it. But I'm not trying to start a conspiracy here because I really don't know what it is. I mean, it might have simply been that, they were pointing at the ground and decided to give it to NASA because they got better stuff now. I don't know, but that's why I'm bringing it up to y'all because maybe somebody will run across something or find out what agency it came from or something along those lines. Now to Pippi. Hey, Pippi, where you? Argentina. Well, I hope it's nice down there. I got a lot of relatives down in Argentina. Yeah, there's a lot of Montaldos down there for some reason. Came over from Spain and Italy way back in the day. Okay, what you got? Yes, ICAR is in South America. We do have directors down there. Matter of fact, I was talking to somebody about one of our directors down there just recently. And we are planning on establishing a web presence, a separate, because we're starting to set up servers in other countries now. You'll always be able to access the icar1.com site. It will always be there, but we have started establishing servers in other countries, and for a couple of reasons. One, the server can be dedicated to whatever the local language is, which makes it easier. You don't have to translate everything. And there's a couple other reasons besides that. It also helps for us to keep data in other places. The organization is getting kind of big, and we are starting to get a lot of people around the planet. And we do need to kind of diversify a little, for a lack of a better way of saying it. So, but there is, so you can get down there. As far as what kind of grays, you're right. I have talked about in the old days, I used to think the Naskins, and this is something I was talking about earlier tonight, you got to admit when you make a mistake. I used to think the Naskins boarded their children to look like the Greys. I was wrong, by the way, because the Greys' heads are not shaped that way. The human-type aliens' heads are shaped. See, once I got enough criteria to understand what a Grey's head actually looked like, Grey's heads are kind of tall, and they kind of puff out and go around, and they're kind of big as they go back to the back and all. The heads they're talking about in Naskins, the face looks like a human face, but the head is actually elongated. It goes back, like in the Alien movie, the alien head from the Alien. It's kind of long like that, but it's, I'd say, 14, 16 inches long. A good foot, half a foot long. A good 8 to 10 inches, maybe 12 inches longer than our head is. So their heads are definitely shaped different. They got hair and all. It's just their heads are shaped differently. And you see this in 3 cultures, in the Sumerian culture, the Egyptian culture, and in the Nazcan culture. They all talk about these, in all fairness, the Egyptians had pharaohs with these kind of heads. So they were either hybrids or aliens themselves. I don't know for sure, but they were one or the other. Or they were people who had their heads boarded to look like the humans. I know they said it was some kind of disease, but now that I understand more about the extraterrestrials, I'm not sure if that's what it is. And since Sumerian and Egypt talks about it, it looks like what they tried to do is break into South America. South America was either probably controlled by the Greys or the reptilians at the time, and they probably tried to get in there. And maybe they wanted to make the Nazcan area their own private base and landing area in South America so they had presence. I really don't know. But I do know the Nazcans used to board their children's heads like that to make them look like them. And the tipper for me was a couple things, but one, I actually seen one of the skeletons, and I realized it wasn't shaped like a Grey's head. It was shaped like the human-type alien's head. So when someone tells you that the human aliens are these beautiful, overflowing things, they're lying to you, okay? It's not that they're not big. It's not that they're not taller than us. And they're always, they're probably all in good shape because, most of our astronauts are in good shape because you usually put your best foot forward when you're sending astronauts and people up in space. It's not that, they've got weird color eyes. And their eyes are not even the color of ours. They got hair like we do. It's just sometimes it's stringy, sometimes it's not. And in their face, they look a lot like us. I mean, their features are a little bit more prominent, but they do look a lot like us. It's just when you see them from the side, you realize they're alien. You really do. I mean, you're like, oh, no, they're not humans. They're aliens. There's no doubt about that part. And now we know what the Greys' heads actually look like, even though we kind of got a good idea what their heads look like. So we know it's not that alien. We know what the reptilians' heads look like. They're very dominant. Even though the reptilians are all over South America, they're also in the Middle East, too. It's funny because with the reptilians, until 2,000 years ago, until the time of Christ, the reptilians were revered around the planet. They weren't hated. They were revered. Just read your history and you'll find that for yourself. But after the time of Christ, they become hated, and the human-type deities had become revered. But if you do your homework, you'll find out that Hitler used to talk to the human-type aliens. And he even said it himself. He was the one talking about that's where he used to get his information from and his ideas from. Just go read his book. It's all there in black and white for you to read yourself. You don't even have to take me on my word. And if that's true, and it wasn't human aliens, because he's talking about these fair-haired, blue-eyed, blonde-haired angels, in which a lot of people describe the humans as, it's just a over image. It's just a layover. It's not them, but it's an image. They told them to do some pretty hairy, nasty shit, didn't they? I mean, some of the experiments they were running in some of them camps was hideous. I mean, come on, let's be honest about it. Brutal. So if that's true, and they were involved with him, then yes, they are the nasty ones. And the ancient world says they are the nasty ones. They said the reptilians were the bringer of knowledge and life, and the humans were destroyers. And it did that all throughout history until the time of Christ, and then everything changes. All of a sudden, it flip-flops. I don't know why. Maybe they started inbreeding it into us. I have no idea. Maybe that's when the Greys showed up. I don't know what the hell it is. But it's there. Just like the map of the creators there, you know, that says somebody was living on the planet much longer than we were, or much earlier than we were. You know, what do you do with anomalies like that? You know, it's just like the head thing. You know, I found these heads in 3 societies now, prominent. It's the same ones. Yeah, I mean, what do you do with information like that? Finding out that South America and Central America are 99.9% O. Now, how could they have come out of Africa if the majority of them, 99.99% of them are O? How is that possible? I mean, you got A, B, and AB. And then you got RH positive and RH negative. But yet 99% of everybody in South America and Central America are O, which suggests that O came from South America and migrated up towards the land bridge, and A and B came from Africa and migrated up towards Europe. Somewhere in the middle, maybe in Europe, maybe in America, they all met together and got together. I really think it was in Europe, because even when you look at the maps, the blood type maps in the United States, there's big sections, big pocket of O's, like somebody had migrated and the population started to bloom. Same thing with the A and B's. They're kind of grouped up in our country, which suggests they've been traveling together and not separate. And then when they breed together is when they bump up against each other in you know, areas where they're overlapping. So much so that they're actually doing a thesis on this, and we will get honorable mention. We ought to see it sometime this year. And so, you know, you find into these things, you bump into these things. It's just one of the things. But matter of fact, somewhere, I don't know if it's on a new site or not, but somewhere in the old site, which is still up. Both sites are up, by the way. The old one, I think, is still at icar1.homestead.com. One of the doctors I'm talking about, actually what I was talking about the blood types, and you know, this all started because I was looking in blood types for contactees. And I just noticed this doctor, I'm not going to say his name on the air, but he's got a map. The maps are up on the site. You can go see for yourself. The maps are still up on the sites. And these are all his, and they're all his stuff. So when I wrote to him and asked him, how could we have all come from Africa if this was... He bluntly told me he never thought of it. He just accepted the theory and did it. But when I asked him that, and then I showed him the pockets moving up, they got interested. Him and his two doctor friends have been working on this now since, I guess, about a year now. And I can't wait to see what they come up with. Because, frankly, they just took the status quo. Now they're asking the same questions I am. Why in the hell is there so much O blood in South America? And you know, because, I mean, what's going on here? How? I mean, some of these people were European. Why is it only the O blood came from Europe? What the hell? There's nobody today alive that can explain this today, just like no one on the planet can explain where RH negative came from. No one. There was no need for it. No, at the time, there was no reason for it to even come up. I mean, we did good for 2 million years without it. And then all of a sudden, 25,000 years ago, we developed O negative or RH negative. What the hell? You know, all of a sudden, for 2 million years, there was only blue and brown eyes with some little slight mix. All of a sudden, now there's green eyes, which, by the way, are growing in number. Yeah, where there used to be hardly any, they're actually growing in number. So what is this? There's been a fundamental shift on our planet in some shape, form, or fashion. Whether it's extraterrestrial related, whether it's something else, I have no idea. But there's definitely some kind of genetic movement going on the planet. And it is nice to see that some of the doctors and DNA people are seeing it too and actually looking into it now. And we may actually find the next century, the next 20 years could be just astonishingly interesting as they explore and probe this more. Because, you know, I stay in contact with these guys on a regular basis because I'm always asking. There's always something I want to know about blood types. The other day I sent something about how temperatures affect blood and how can it affect sensory perception, because I was kind of curious enough if he was immersed in something cold or something warm, how they would respond to it. Which could you expect from them to respond to it? And, you know, they were talking about, you know, what they've been doing, what they're up to, what's going on. And, you know, probably, or I said probably, or hopefully, I'll say, when this is all said and done, maybe we can get them come on the show and talk about it. They are real doctors, they're real professional doctors, and they're not real happy about putting their name for it. But the one guy did officially, you know, tell us we could use his maps and all of that. And in the beginning, he wouldn't even let us do that. He was like, no, you can write my findings, but you can't even use my maps. I was like, what an ass. And I pester everybody, so I just kept pestering him. Finally, he said I could use his maps, so we put them up. And then he started asking me questions why I was so interested in this and why do I want to know this and what the hell's up with this. And, you know, you're crazy, dude, but, you know, and then when I started giving him facts and asking him hard questions, and he got even more interested in it. So where it goes is anybody's best guess, but it is promising. I will say that much. I just can't wait to see the final results. So that's a good get that out there. And we got other stuff that's going on, other programs that's going on. Where'd that question go? There was something else I want to squeeze in here before I start bringing on other people with me here. Where did it go? Where did it go? Where did it go? What did it do with it? Okay, who is this? Michael, where are you from, Michael? Scandinavia. What? But that doesn't tell me where you're from. Anyway, what's your question now? Let's see. Why do aliens abduct mostly Americans? Okay. That's not exactly true. There are some gaps in abductions, meaning that in the Americas and in Australia and a few other places in the world, there does seem to be more abductions. I think there's two reasons. One, I always assumed that Europe was more open about this than America was. Recently, I found that is not true. I've got enough friends over there now that, no, Europe is not more open about this than we are. And in some places, they're worse than we are about this. So, you know, that was interesting in itself. But over the last 500 years, there's been a purge of Africa and Europe. People were being drove away. And I think a lot of times these were contactees. You know, contactees were probably the ones, religions. Contactees are probably the ones that wanted religious freedom. They're probably were the weird, the strange ones, the wicked ones, the whole bunch. You know, the explorers. You know, one thing I say that all contactees have in common is the need to survive. And that's what America and the Americas and Australia were built on people with the need to survive. So it makes more sense that there would be more contactees clustered in there. Not because aliens were putting them there, but simply because they came here originally. And now they're interbreeding with each other, so they're making more of them. You know, so Europe probably lost a good chunk of their contactees back in the day. The Middle East probably did too. The Middle East is probably losing contactees even today because they're being persecuted there. Same thing in Africa. This is not really socially accepted there. So, you know, China really can't go anywhere. And India already accepts this. India and China are probably two of the only cultures on the world that really accept this for what it is. Neither one of their cultures have a problem with aliens visiting the planet. Neither one of them. And they make up half the world's population, and they don't have a problem with it. But all the rest of us, so-called educated people, do. You know, it's interesting to me. India and China were probably the first major civilizations on the planet. India was probably the first because they just found that city that dates back 10,000 years. They were the rise of civilization. They've risen and fell a couple of times. Both China and India have, and they're both on their way back now. And probably one day will be the dominant on the planet again. Maybe then we'll actually see a more open society with dealing with paranormal and extraterrestrial because they're more interested in us. Of course, I could be absolutely and totally wrong, so we'll have to wait and see. And probably won't even see that in my lifetime. To James, is that James Carrion? Because I just seen Carrion next to your name. Disclosure in my lifetime? I don't think so. I want so, okay? And I will do everything I can to help. Even though you've heard me before say that I don't think we're going to have disclosure. Anytime anybody's working on a project, I will help them any way I can. I will post their websites. I will post their petitions. I'll bring them on shows. Let them talk about it. Whatever it takes to get those agendas going. I have no problem with helping people try to get disclosure because you never know if we might get lucky. You know, you never know. But frankly, if you ask me point blank, no, I don't think we're going to see it in my lifetime. But I want to be wrong there, so it's not going to hurt my feelings any. How's that? Because it's really not. I mean, when it comes right down to it, I'm kind of like, E.T. come home. Because I really think the reptilians are from Earth. I don't think they're...
Congratulations,
I think they got
you won.
worlds or new home worlds, off world, but I don't actually think that they're not from here. I really do think that the reptilians are here. And the humans, they might actually be from our solar system. They could have been Martians or something. Before Mars went crazy. There is that problem with humans with the 24-and-a-quarter-hour clock and the average working temperature on the planet. Our bodies are set up for a different temperature. I think it's 73 degrees Fahrenheit on Earth, and would have been 63 degrees Fahrenheit back on Mars in a day. Our bodies thrive in that. Actually, it's much better temperature for us. Our biological clock is set on a 24-and-a-quarter-hour day, but our planet that we live on is a 23-and-three-quarter-hour day. So if we naturally evolved here, why aren't our biological clocks synced? Why isn't Gaia's and humans' biological clock synced? Suggests that we're not actually from here. So, but yet Mars has a 24-and-a-quarter-hour day with a head average temperature of 60 degrees. And wait, more importantly, and this just recently came up in science, our bodies would do much better in a half-G environment. Yeah, versus a 1G environment. Yeah, and guess what Mars is? I know, huh? Coincidence. You know, our original cells may have came from there. Maybe they came here and inhabited the planet. I really don't know, but it's looking like we got some kind of tie to them. You know, Jim, that's a good question. Why did reptilians lose Earth? Probably the same reason. What it looks like, and this is from scientists' point of view. It looks like Earth, Mars, and Venus were all struck around the same time, 53 to 63 years ago. Were all had a major impact. Earth, it basically caused a great extinction. Mars, it ripped away the atmosphere, and Venus, it sent into global warming. Any of which of those could happen to the Earth, by the way. So, and it's hard because we know there's an asteroid belt between Mars and Jupiter that if it was combined would have been a planet about 5 times the size of Earth, which could have been Nibiru. Everybody always talks about this planet Nibiru that was running loose in our galaxy. It probably was Nibiru. It was probably there, and Jupiter eventually corralled it in and crushed it. And when it did, those chunks went flying out through space, and 2 of them are still in orbit around Mars right now. So it looks like that's what happened. Well, since, the aliens probably didn't know it was going to happen, it was probably one of those things that just happened. They probably weren't real prepared for it, and, they had to go wherever they had to go. Reptilians probably left Earth, went and lived somewhere else, another water planet somewhere, because they're actually amphibians. Humans probably did the same thing, but the humans looks like were the first ones that came back. If you go by the Sumerian text, they were the first ones to return, and then the reptilians came in later on and found them here and were just pissed. But hey, and that story says that, the humans created a slave race, not us, but want something real close to us. They could do things like procreate, name the animals and stuff like that, but they never asked why they had to do anything. Then they said the reptilians came in and stole their women, raped them. The women had children. The children were different. And I've always said the same thing. I always originally thought they meant the children looked different, but they didn't. They meant the children acted differently. They had become self-aware. Even the Christian story in the Bible says the same thing. It's the same story. And you'll find this story everywhere, in every ancient culture on the planet, in every holy book in the world. There is a story about a reptilian getting hooked up with a human. In the Bible, he gives it an apple of, the apple of knowledge, and poof, away she goes. First thing she does is put her clothes on, because why? She's self-aware now. She knows she's standing naked in the world. So, you become self-aware. And we all know we have a reptilian section in our brain. It is the section that it's the instinctual section that makes us aware of our surroundings and our environment. Yes, it's what made us self-aware. It's our self-aware part. That's what it is. So, what are you going to do? There's enough evidence, it's circumstantial, mind you, but there's enough evidence to say, hey, wait a minute, it's much different than we originally thought it was. But you got to look into stuff like that. Just like when you hear about the human aliens with Hitler, you got to look into that stuff. This is all stuff you have to look into, because frankly, you never know what's coming. You just don't. You really don't. But anyway, I'm getting ready to bring on some peeps with us here. Steph, send me your number. I don't think I got it on this phone. Let's see. Can I start singing, y'all? Y'all don't run away if I start singing, okay? All right, call. Okay, call that number. All right. I don't know if I got Stephanie and Chris. Ow, you scared the hell out of me, Trees. Oh, y'all getting bad? We had some bad weather earlier, but I think most of it skedaddled out of here, I think. Because it was looking pretty rough around 7 o'clock when the show started. Ow. But now it's kind of calming down. So I won't keep you long in case y'all got to go haul butt off real fast or something. Yeah, I think Stephanie and Chris just joined us. Yeah, they're here, see? That's it. You can't miss them, man. You can't. For Tree, I'll let Trees go first since she might have. Oh, wait, Trees, wait, Trees, hold on a second. You know what? They can't hear you. So, and I know why. Hold on. Go ahead and go now.
Fight NYC with Steph and Chris tomorrow. And Joe, I hope you can hear me. Hi, I can hear you now. Hi there, Chris and Steph.
We hear you.
We hear you just fine.
We don't hear Joe, though.
I don't either. He'll be right back on. He'll be right back on.
Okay, now you can hear me.
Now we can hear. I don't think they heard anything Tree said.
Yeah, now you can hear it because I was on the other line a minute ago, and because I had them while I was using my headset, and I can't use my headset when I got all yellow, and I got to use the phone, so I had to call myself. I forgot about the headset. I can't do it that way. That's just one of those things. The treat show, we don't know what Treat's going to be up to. She'll be scaring us Friday night. I can see that coming. And I always know Treat's got good stuff going on, so I don't even worry about it. And Chris is doing we got to skip Second Sight tonight, right? Because we will be talking about the new show Friday night.
No. We're not going to skip Second Sight. Come on, Joe. You know I'm evil, as you say. And
I know you're overall. I thought you were off doing something. Yeah, she's on law. She's paying attention. Well, y'all go ahead, and then we'll talk about the other show in a second.
Alrighty. Well, tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, second side, NYC. Chris and Steph. Yeah, I mean, what? You know, Joe, what are you going to do on our show on Saturday night? Are you going to skip Chris's show? We have to be realistic here. All right. Anyway, we have David Weatherly, and we will be discussing his book, which is Black-Eyed Children.
Yeah, I think this is going to be a really cool show because there's a big alien connection here, or a supposed alien connection. I've been reading the book. I'm really enjoying it. It should be a really good conversation. I'm looking forward to tomorrow's show.
But we have also a twist to tomorrow night's show. We have an additional third hour.
We're going for 3?
We're going for 3.
We're out of control.
And the ironic thing is we will be streaming live from someone else's show who will be discussing something very near to our heart. And you want to talk about this?
Yeah, it's a website that calls out paranormal groups, and they're real. I guess you want to say they're bastards, and we're gonna actually call them out on the show tomorrow night. It should be really interesting. I'm really looking forward to tomorrow night.
Yeah, our 3 is independent from our first 2-hour show, so it will really be interesting. And really,
but other than that, I think it's important to say,
give them the other network that you're going to be streaming on. Ain't no reason to be stingy.
Well, yeah, what is the other network? I don't even know.
Shame on you. Shame on you.
No, I do, actually. It's beyond, I wrote it down. Go Radio. Go Beyond Radio, and the hosts are Don Ford and Chuck Manning. And
they're actually very good.
Yeah, they're really great hosts, and they're actually annoyed. And the topic is someone developed this paranormal site, which is worstparanormal.com, and they're just like calling out people just by way of looking at their websites and just, I guess, recording nonsense according to their specifications. And these guys are very annoyed about it, and they want to talk to people like us who have been noted on this site. And we're going to stream live with them on their site as they talk about this. And they're doing it for 3 hours, but obviously we can't because we have 2 hours before this. So.
Right. And on another note, Joe, I think it's important to let our listeners know that there's some congratulations in order for Stephanie, since we just found out that she's pregnant with twins.
I know, I heard that. Twins.
Congratulations, Steph. Who's the dad?
Oh, really?
I'm gonna get myself in trouble.
No, people
there.
are congratulating me now. No, people, he's joking. And so, Joe, you better put some clarity here.
Oh, no. Stephanie called me the other day telling me she was having twins. I like to tell Adam a kid. I was just floored. I was like,
you were floored. You can imagine my surprise.
I said, I thought you cut Chris off. How you having twins? All right, I'll be good. No, guys, it's an inside joke somebody posted on our website. I was giving her hell about the other night before everybody.
I'm not having twins.
Please,
does the world need 2 more of me anyway? I mean, really?
We can use 2 more of me, no?
No. All right. So let's move on to our show on Friday, or Chris's show on Friday.
Yeah, Friday I'm going to start a new show called Insight with psychic medium Christopher George, and it's going to basically be a call-in show. We're going to be talking anything psychic. If you have any kind of problems or things that you want to discuss psychically, and it's going to be call-in readings. It's going to be a cool show. We're going to have a lot of fun. You're going to see another side of me. On second sight, you see me, you get a little crazy sometimes. When I do my psychic work, I'm not like that at all, and I'm actually looking forward to the show.
And that's 11 to midnight Eastern Time.
Yeah, as long as I can stay awake.
Yeah, Joe, I'm going to have to be giving him caffeine injections, and I have no idea what I'm going to do.
Hey, wait, didn't somebody just join? Who's on my phone with me? Who's that, Jason? Joe? Oh, I guess I didn't.
I'm sorry, it's Patrice. And
I got you. I got you on there too. Somebody keeps calling me.
How exciting that 3-hour program tomorrow with Chris and Stephanie. This discussion has been great, and also to hear Chris again on Friday. That will be wonderful. And part of the typing here. No, I think it's great.
Please, he will be following you.
Okay, now you should be with us.
Major honor for me, and please pardon my typing then quickly. I'm just checking. There's a couple of tornadoes here in Colorado, and I'm checking out There was one site that said nearby, but I don't think so.
Jason, you still with us?
Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah, I got you. We got Joe, and that's Joe, huh?
Yeah, what's this going, B?
Wait, don't be saying nothing we on the air, so I'll be saying nothing you ain't supposed to.
Hi there.
Yeah, I'll put you back up the air in a minute. I got everybody on with me when you call, and I didn't want to miss your call. So you just hang in there with us a few minutes. All right, where were you before I got sidetracked here? I had calls coming in all over the place. I was emerging aware. So second fight tomorrow night, then Insight Friday night. And then y'all, there's going to be a new show on Saturdays. We're going to be moving Voice of the People down one slot. And there's going to be a new show on it. There'll probably be 3 of us hosting it. And I can already tell you it's going to be a bad crowd, man. It's going to be a bad crowd.
Joe, if you're talking about me, it's a good crowd.
And I think I'm going to do all the Saturday shows on at least 3 White Russians. Some of them will be on FM. Just know that ahead of time. Maybe 4 White Russians. I need to be relaxed for these kind of shows. Variety, I like to do. There's a couple of people I want to get on their butts about. On a couple of things, for that matter. Well, we got to get out of here because we got all.
Been taking this very, very